On the 2nd of November 1983, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club played Feyenoord at Rotterdam. The result was Feyenoord 0, Tottenham 2.
There's about 4 Dutch geezers I've seen whacking hell out of Tottenham geezers, and the old Bill went into the Tottenham on top of the Dutch geezers. Didn't even touch them, and then we get the blame for it. Everyone turns around, they blame the English. Why don't people start looking abroad? They've had aggravation in places in the continent for bleeding years.
Come on, you Spurs! Come on, you Spurs! You Spurs!
Far be it for me to criticise my colleagues in European football, but it's no good having a stand-off position. If you're going to properly police fan hooligans, you've got to get in among them from the first time. You've got to be in the stadium, you've got to be with them, you've got to segregate them, and you've got to contain them.
I think that was 20 boys was given tickets for the wrong area. They tried to go in there, and they couldn't get. As they went to go in, they realised they was wrong. They tried to turn themselves round. They couldn't turn themselves round because they had boys with knives behind them going at their legs.
A lot of Tottenham supporters went over there, Saul. Feyenoord is the way of life over there, isn't it?
Hey, give it 70, 30. You want 70 back?
You can carry a blade, right, of 6 inches in length with the handle legally in Holland. And over here, you can't at all. You have a penknife, they'd nick it off you.
I went to Feyenoord, which was fantastic. There was so much report on what happened before the game and after the game, the fighting and everything. And the football was, you know, not even given second place. And we were so good that night. We were absolutely, they played like a brilliant team. They really were good.
I think they make it up to be much worse than what it is, especially one particular paper. You shouldn't look further than page 3, should you know?
We've got to establish, first of all, the difference between the spectator, the fan and the hooligan. People outside football tend to group them all together. They're not. There's a 40,000 gate here today, and I suppose there are no more than 400 people who we could call potential hooligans.
They think with they.
Good boy. I met Keith at football in Sunderland in '77. So it's a second division game. We won 2-1. John Duncan got both goals. My sister, she met her husband at football. Oldham away in the League Cup. Steve Perriman got the winning goal, 1-0. And my other sister, she goes as well. We're trying to fix her up with somebody. He's got another suspension.
Who's that?
Robert. When I was at school, yeah, they used to think there was something wrong with me, I think. But most of my friends I've met at football, so it's they don't really mind. They understand I'm afflicted with this disease.
It's the whole day, from now till 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 at night. It's a 12-hour day. What with getting up early and going to the football and working at the club, which we thoroughly enjoy, the whole family does. And the 90 minutes is an incidental to the 12 hours we spend in and around to do with the football for the whole day. It's just a good day out. We thoroughly enjoy the whole thing.
Come on in. Come on.
Following Spurs can be expensive. Some supporters travel from all over the country. Alan lives in Chesterfield and goes to every Spurs game.
As regards expense to Saturday, it is worked out, you know, I stop in all week. I don't socialise at all in midweek now. And I save my money for Saturday. My wife's very helpful with that. And it's working out all right at the moment.
I think with Alan in his position anyway, without a job now, that it's important he mixes with other fellas, you know, and a bit otherwise he never goes out anywhere. So that way he would never mix, you know, with his own sex.
If I don't go, I'm like a bear with a sore bum, you might say. Terrible. I'd probably finish up with stomach ulcers listening to it on radio, you know, not being there. like traditional now, you know. Over the years we've got a group of lads together, and this is what cuts the expense down. This is probably one of the reasons why I can't afford to go now.
Where are you going?
Tottenham again.
Yeah. That's your copy of the agreement. There's your keys, and let's hope they win.
We'll go to Kenyon's about 9 o'clock to get his car, and we'll pick Mick up on way, because he lives on way to motorway.
Oh, yeah, as you say, you know, the last 3 years since we've all met each other, you know, we all travelled together. Before, it did seem a million miles away.
The lads from Chesterfield, they get up at God knows what time for a home game on a Saturday, and they travel all the way down from Chesterfield, and we get people all over the country, and they just sort of typify 5 or 6 lads getting together and hiring a car for the day to come to Tottenham, which is their mecca for the day. That's their great day out.
You only collect footballers, do you?
No, I've got some more at the back.
Where you go?
Well, Vic takes Gary. I mean, he goes all over the country. Gary enjoys himself. Vic knows the problems aren't as the papers make out. Otherwise, as I say, a responsible parent himself, he wouldn't take Gary.
Yeah, just with you. There'll be a big gap in my life, I think, because it just means so much. You know, Saturday really means so much to me, because I work hard, even if I say so myself. The job I've got to work on the gas balls, you know, and the money's not bad, and it enables me to, you know, carry on my interest with Spurs. It's yeah, but it's not just the football, you see. It's the whole day. As far back as I can remember, my old granddaddy was a Spurs fan. My dad used to tell me about when he used to take him, and that can be said about my dad too. You know, he took me and my brother. My brother Terry lives in Clacton. He's still got an affinity for the Spurs, but because he's so far away, he can't come. You know, but me, well, I think it comes a time in your life that the interest goes a little bit, and you go right off it. But not with me. I seem to get a little bit stronger, you know, and join the supporters club, of course, and it's just snowball from there, really. 1.5 Spurs ground, mate, please.
Well, I go to every home game, and my father, who's 73, comes along with me. I suppose getting involved very early, about 40-odd years ago, my first visit to White Hart Lane was when the Arsenal and Tottenham were playing on alternate Saturdays. And I suppose my first introduction really was seeing Tottenham play, and remained with them ever since. During the war, when I was evacuated, I used to come up and watch them every Saturday, home game. My father obviously goes back a lot longer than I do, but he goes back to the days of Jimmy Dimmock and people like that. My first recollection of Tottenham, I suppose, was a gentleman by the name of Ralph Ward, Captain Ralph Ward, Home Guard, Major Roy White, Jackie Gibbons, A.H. Gibbons, people like that.
I've filled the place. Got bread, milk and tea, please. Thank you very much.
So, would you reckon?
You come this afternoon?
Of course, yeah. Yeah,
When you come.
Well,
so
never seen them lose.
You've got to come today.
I mean, I've supported them for years. Plus, Molly. I mean, I've been friends with Molly. Not only because she's a customer, but because she comes in and chat and what have you. Never seen the Spurs lose.
Right, bye, Richard.
Done some funny things, some crazy things with the Spurs. Someone said that we wouldn't do blue and white sausages, so we've done these pork sausages in the blue and white skins, and we've had them in the window, and I must admit they didn't sell, but Molly ended up taking them to Wembley with her.
Nothing else better to do on a Saturday, really. I mean, there's Sainsbury's. It's not everybody's cup of tea, you know. No, it's just something I've got into quite a while ago, and I rediscovered it in the last couple of years, and I'm having a great time.
I just like going. I don't know, the atmosphere's great. I mean, it's not like... I mean, you can watch it on a telly, but it's not the same. I just like going. The people you meet. You know, sometimes you get families going, like little kids, you know, mums and dads, and
we're
it's
lucky,
just
aren't we?
great.
We know a lot of people. We've met a lot of people through the game, and they're great fun. I don't see my boyfriends on Saturday. Obviously, I'll see him in the morning of a home game, but if we have to travel, I'll hardly see him. I'll see him when I get home here. And he's very understanding, bless him. Much more than I would be, I'm sure.
I wouldn't put up with
You
it.
know.
I wouldn't.
I'm sure we wouldn't, you know.
Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. And the Spurs go marching on. Loyal Spurs supporters and they come to every game. Loyal Spurs supporters and they come to every game. Loyal Spurs supporters and they come to every game. Watch the Spurs go marching on. Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur.
The bigger clubs, normally I would say, they've been out to make their money. And the only way they can make their money, except for sponsorship and things like this, is through the fans. And some clubs have gone over the top, really, with the way they've charged fans for the privilege of watching them. This is the way they treat a lot of people. It's a privilege that they can watch their 11 players on the field. At Tottenham, I feel that they are pampering too much, really, to the people with money. It's a money thing to them now. It's gone over. It's gone really against what football should be. It should be that you can turn up and feel as though you're part of the club. Whereas Tottenham and some of the bigger clubs now, it is the money they're more interested in, how much they can get in, where they can get it from, and the fans really are incidental these days.
You've only got to look in the car park on a Saturday to see where Tottenham, their interest really lies. Invariably there's a little group of 4 or 5 Rolls Royces just by the main stand, and just generally looking around the car park you can tell the sort of people by the cars they've got. It's the wrong attitude. It's more money, 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 money. Where is it? We're going to need it, we're going to get it while we can. And it's just the wrong attitude to have, really.
They see us every Saturday during the football season. We're the guys who people see cheering the team on the terraces, at home games and away games, and especially at the away games. Now, if we can get up out of our beds, no matter what the weather, and follow the club to away games, surely if we get to Wembley, we are the first supporters that should be given tickets. I mean, as I said, 1980-81 season, I couldn't get a ticket. I tried, but I had to stand in line like everyone else, and eventually I got a ticket. Now, had I not gotten that, I would have had to go into one of the ticket touts. I mean, I've seen guys up here with 50, 60 tickets, yet these blokes in the club can't get a ticket, even to sit down at an ordinary match. You can't get a ticket, yet you walk outside and there's a tout. You want a seat for today? 20 quid for a £4.50 ticket, or £30 if you want to go into the newsstand. It's all wrong. Tottenham Football Club should cater for their supporters a lot better than they are doing.
People just don't realise how individuals really put themselves out for football because they enjoy it, but they don't seem to get anything back from the football authorities. I mean, they can see the match, but they're not appreciated being there.
Really, they want a successful team. I think the money, they want to be ploughed back into the team. Not on executive boxes, I don't think. They want a great side, like Liverpool, really, if it's possible.
Year seems to bring less problems, I'm glad to say, for our point of view. Going back perhaps 2 or 3 years, we had a large-scale hooligan element here. In fact, we had 2 murders in one particular year. associated with football outside the ground. But now I think it's a matter of containment, a matter of segregation of fans, a matter of liaison with the club, to be honestly. And let's face it, the club hold the responsibility for curtailing hooliganism within the ground.
The hooligan element is there though, and I'm aware of that. But I like to keep a close eye on what he's doing, and travelling the way we do, and at Tottenham I've got a season ticket, you know, we seem to be quite a way away from that, you know. It's we see the fighting and all that, but it's from a distance. But happy to say there's not a lot of fighting at Spurs these days. Most of the fighting we encounter is at away games, you know.
But I've never done anything I shouldn't have done. I did once. You know, in the 60s, it was they started throwing toilet rolls. And we were in the Park Lane when we used to have it, and I took a toilet roll with me once and I threw it. And it didn't go very far. It hit this reporter in the back because we were at the front. And this policeman came up and told me off, and I've never ever done anything like that again because I was so frightened. I really was. I was so scared. I thought he'd chuck me out and I'd never be allowed in again. It's my way. I mean, everybody has got aggression in them. And to me, that is a good way of letting it out. You know, I mean, if you call a referee or a player of the other side a name, they can't hear you. It makes me feel better. And it's all gone in 90 minutes. All those nasty feelings that I've got is all out. And I've not hurt anybody by doing it.
Monkey chants, whistling, it's all good sport. I don't think anyone should pay too much attention to that. The players don't. It doesn't stop them. Oh, if he's on the other side, you know, in good fun, give him a little bit of barracking. Yeah, you know, try and get him off his stride, especially if he's going to score. You know, do everything you can to stop him scoring, because once they score, it means we've got to score twice to beat them.
When I was young, I asked my father all about it. He taught me football and told me all about it. And I failed to see a lot of difference in them, except they don't put enough energy in it, to my mind. They were hungry, well underpaid in those days. Now they got too much. They do play a bit harder than they used to, but when you think it all out, years ago, there used to be a terrible lot of kicking and punching and biting and scratching. You don't see so much of it, don't see a lot of dirty play. It's like hooliganism. I've never seen it. I've never seen any hooliganism. I've travelled all over with the Spurs, abroad as well. I've never seen hooliganism because I don't go into it. I don't chase after it to look for it.
Do you think the newspapers and the television chase after it?
Yes, I think they do. Somebody does. It must be them. It isn't the people. We used to go away with John Harris abroad for years and years, and doing very, very well in all the different countries. We never knew what trouble was. The only bit of hooliganism I ever see is on the buses when they're scrambling going home, and then I have to, or somebody has to shout for a policeman to get them off before they sit on my lap and smother me in the bus.
I've heard that you're a bit of a hooligan with your umbrella, is that right?
Oh, yes, I would. I'd fight for myself if I was in any trouble. I did it in Wembley one year. They started scrambling around me, so I got hold of my umbrella and started smashing them with it. One man grabbed it out of my hand, twirled it and broke it, so that was the end of that. I cleared off, hit myself.
The Supporters Club run their own trains and coaches to all the away games. The football club gives us no help, so we steward the trains and coaches ourselves.
It builds to a whole good atmosphere for the whole day. The away games are completely different. The fans do enjoy themselves more and get more involved in it and sing and laugh and joke, which we can't do at home because we're all split up at home. It's the same sort of people every other week going around, especially when we go on the train, and we have good fun. It's an added part of the whole trip, really, is the train journey, because we have a couple of hours to socialise, really. It's not just to sit there, get into the football, we're playing cards, laughing, joking, talking stories from the week previously.
We steward these trains very well, and there's no police involved at all on a Saturday now when we go on these trains, and you consider the value of a train to British Rail, and they really let us loose on it because they know that we'll behave and the train will come back in as good as order as it went out. Yeah, the football club just don't want to be involved with their true fans, really. I mean, these are the ones that go everywhere, and they don't want to be involved with those because it's a little bit too much hassle for them.
Count me out this. Big money coming out now for the cameras.
Oh, you support Tottenham and you follow the team, no matter where they're playing, the Spurs fans will turn up. Won't they? You agree with me, don't you? Of course I can agree with you. The Tottenham support...
Doing cards,
standing there, being quiet, sitting there.
For a lot of people, it's a feeling of being part of something.
The Tottenham support will turn up everywhere, and everybody knows it.
We all follow the Tottenham, Harvard and Leicester. And Leicester!
No, we played Barcelona away, right? We were queuing up for tickets, and these two blokes in a daily in suits, right? And we're queuing up, and they walked up and they said, "Boy, lads, tip us the wink when the fighting's going to start." We told them, they said, "Come on, lads, cameraman's here.
Go on.
Fighting's going to start. Let us know, and we'll be straight there on it."
Follow the Tottenham, on to victory, all together now.
It has got something to do with mass hysteria, I suppose. I mean, I've never been in trouble with football before Wednesday. And just Wednesday, I just got carried away. Everyone was jumping on, so I went on, and I got collared. I mean, I didn't go on the pitch on Wednesday with the intent of hitting someone or causing trouble. No way, not at all. But no, it's just silly, I know. Give me a few bruises around the head, and no, they were just generally, "We're going to teach you a lesson. You won't be coming up here again." That sort of thing, you know.
Spent a comfortable night, though, didn't you?
I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, I'm not saying I got roughed up or anything, but it was just a bit, you know, a bit unpleasant, I suppose.
And you were left at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was turfed out to the high street with about 4 hours to kill. You know, I mean, I asked to stay overnight. I asked for a bed. Didn't get one.
Offered to pay for one as well.
And Spurs go marching on, Tottenham,
The police are just as bad as the away fans. The way they herd you about like cattle. Because if you know, make a train load, say 300 people on a train, walk on a 2-foot wide curb, and start whacking you if you walk off the curb.
Obviously use a little bit of tact when we do search people, obviously out of the public eye. We also do it for their own protection, of course, for the protection of the general public. But it is for their own good at the end of the day, obviously. If there's a family come up, dad, father, son or whatever, they usually get straight through with no hassle or no searching at all. But obviously a group of yobs, that we call them, then they might get a little bit more attention than the normal support that we hope come down here and cause no trouble whatsoever. You've got to bear in mind that only half a dozen or a handful of fans can cause problem. 99% cause no problem whatsoever. So I think on that basis you're just looking for the odd one that's out to cause hassle and trouble for themselves and anyone else in the way.
You're just treated sometimes like animals, and there's always the odd one or two amongst any police at football that just want to try and wind fans up a little bit. A little shove here and a little shove there and a bit of swearing here, do this, do that, and you only walk into a game of football.
Beginning of the season. Now, we was not walking along with the escort, we was walking on the opposite side of the road, and there was 3 of us. And there was a police van right by the side of us, going down the road. And the escort was on the other side. And the door kept opening. "Want a row, John? Want to start, John?" In a Birmingham accent. And this is coming from the police van. They kept opening and shutting the door. "Want to start? Want to start a row? Come on, John, come on, John." Started opening the door, like banging the door into us as we were walking past. Provoking us to have a pop at them, just so they could nick us.
And one copper like says, says the animals, didn't they? So they all started going, moo, moo, and the stars on it, it was great. Wasn't it? They did though, didn't they? It was right funny.
Well, I've got to say, I've always gone all right with the police. Everywhere we've gone, I've gone all right with the police, except at Coventry.
What happened there?
When I had that too, when this policeman, he was agitating all the time, standing down in front of us agitating. And he took one of my boys out, and he said he was swearing and disorderly, and that boy wasn't doing a thing.
Once at Tottenham, when we used to stand in the old enclosure, and there was a crowd of away supporters on the other side of the park, and Tottenham support was all shouting over at him, like jeering at him. And the old Bill moved into the crowd and they nicked a bloke on crutches, an old man of 40-odd, and a little kid of about 13. You know, and everyone's shouting the insults at the away supporters. And look what they nicked. An old man of 40 and a little kid. And everyone just stood there laughing. Like, you know, what was the point of nicking them?
Many a time I've been pulled out by the police and they've said, you've got a choice, you either get nicked or you get an hiding. And I prefer the hiding than a nick, because it's cheaper. And I've took enough wax off of them. They go there for the wax. A lot of them do.
We were standing on the station waiting for the train to go out, and the crowd got restless behind a small opening. So on came the policeman with a dog, and the next thing I knew, the dog had sunk its teeth in my arm. So I said to the couple, you're a bloody fool.
You said more than that.
Well, no, I don't use four-letter words, but I did say that.
I mean, I'm probably as bad as everyone else, because when I read a newspaper, I stop and read something that's sensational. But when it actually happens to you, and you know that it's just a bunch of lies, then it means something completely different. And I really feel for people when they have lies told about them in the papers.
You can't help believe it. If you take a paper like The Sun, it's spread all over the front page or the back page. And they don't just make it a little corner, it's right on the back page, isn't it?
I mean, you always sort of expect an editor of a paper to be a member of the MCC or something, so they don't really want to upset their own sort of patch. They're not football all the time, and you hear the chanting, especially Sunday league games, and it's always, oh, that's that football element, our cricket matches.
You'll find that football supporters in lower divisions are completely different to us. They go for different reasons, I think, because occasionally I get to go and watch a midweek game down at the Orient, and the sort of people I see there are totally different to the people I see at Tottenham, because they're not. The club is not a business. It's there for pure football.
I think that sort of friendliness, it seems to have gone out of the club. I mean, now all they think about is how much money they're going to get in. I mean, that newsstand, even though we sit in it, it's not really built with the ordinary, average football supporter in mind, is it?
Well, I imagine for the lads that really have been bored all during the week with nothing really to look forward to, and with a little bit of dole money, I don't even know what they get these days. It's not a great deal, but they find ways of getting to their football because that is their highlight of the week.
I'd say a tosser like Stevens is out on the park, and I watched him for a couple of minutes today, and he was hiding behind the other Spurs players.
He was very, very poor. He didn't seem proud to pull on the white shirt of Tottenham Hotspur.
But if you're watching it and you're spending your money going, you want to see him play like Roberts and Perryman, giving it their all. You know, it's right.
I wake up on a Saturday morning and all I think about is going to Tottenham Hotspur to see Tottenham Hotspur play. You know, you stand there, it's freezing cold, you know, and everyone's doing their thing. Yeah, but when the team comes out, it's all worthwhile.
They're playing some superb football. And away they come again. This is Dyson. Smith moving up on the right wing. He's cutting in. He's calling for the ball. But Dyson's got another. He's got another with 3 minutes to go. And that's it. That's what Tottenham have been striving to win, and they've won it. And surely now a lap of honour.
Villiers. And still Ricky Villiers. What a fantastic run. He scored. Amazing goal. It's the year of the cockerel.
Well, I've got a very soft spot for Tottenham, you know, that's round about this area, but I've got a soft spot for Arsenal as well, but that's in a private place.